Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Angela Brennan and today I'm going to bring you one card showing how I use dye inks to paint this Paint a Flower China Rose stamp. This stamp set is part of the monthly series subscription Paint a Flower. I start by using watercolor paper and stamp with Versamark ink. Versamark ink is a sticky ink that allows embossing powder to stick to it. Before I do any stamping, I use anti-static powder. And I also think using a stamping platform is quite good because the watercolor paper is not smooth. Stamping it twice will help, and the stamping platform will help with repeated stamping. I choose two sets of dye inks, the Golden Sunset and Cherry Blossom. These are the colors I'm going to use for my petals, the flowers. And I apply these ink onto my palette. So I'm creating a color palette. Before I put the pigment onto the image to watercolor it, I do a little bit of a quick swatch to see what the colors look like. Because I normally use these inks for stamping, and when you use it for watercoloring, you need to see how the pigment or how the color looks with some water and on watercolor paper. I like watercoloring after heat embossing because the heat embossed lines give a natural border to putting color in or water. And here I'm going to use the wet on wet technique, which means I put clear water in the area I want the pigment to flow before I add pigment with a different brush. And that's the kind of watercoloring I find most comfortable with, and I think it's also a great way for a beginner to start watercoloring. So you apply clear water and then you add pigment. You can add the same color pigment, or you can here I add a couple of different pigments. I start with the red at the top and a little bit of yellow at the tips of the petals. I try to emulate a real flower that I saw in an image. It's called China Rose. It looks a little bit like a hibiscus to me, but that's what I'm trying to do. I don't quite achieve it. I'm using more of a pink here, but that's what I'm trying to achieve. And I think sometimes when you watercolor or color flowers, looking at a natural flower and coloring it helps with the process. I go on to add another layer of the pigment once the inks have dried. It just gives me a chance to intensify the color or add a bit more gradation between the two colors. I play around with it quite a bit for each of the petals after the first layer is dried. This will intensify the color as well as give it a bit more of a natural gradation between the two different pigments. At least that's what I'm aiming for. I went on to paint the flowers and put a background in off camera. I only added the background of blue after the leaves and flowers had dried. The background has a few layers of colors. That means I put a layer on, let it dry, put another layer on. I think I put 3 layers all in, and that took a little while. But that's because I wasn't really sure how it was going to turn out, but I'm quite pleased the way it turned out in the end. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing. And when you do subscribe, please remember to press the notification bell so you're alerted when a new video is uploaded. Here are a few other cards that I created with this stamp set. Not quite watercoloring, but different ways of using this stamp set. Just because it's painted flower doesn't mean you need to use watercolors and paint it. You can do so many other things with it. Details of this are in my blog. Do check it out. But also if you want to see a video of how I created some of the other cards with this painted flower stamp set, I've got the link in the description below. So do check it out. Thank you so much for stopping by. I hope you've been inspired, and I'll catch you at my next video. Happy crafting!